Hook. The sirens wailed in the distance, echoing through the quiet mountain valley. Blue and red lights flickered against the log cabin's windows as police cars pulled up the dirt road. My heart pounded, not from fear, but from disbelief. I had built this cabin with my own hands, on land my grandfather had left me, deep in the county I called home. Yet here I was, standing on my own porch, being treated like a trespasser because one woman, one persistent, self-proclaimed ruler of the Homeowners Association, decided I didn't belong. She thought she could scare me. She thought she could push me off my land with rules that had nothing to do with me. What she didn't know, what no one in that crowd knew, was that I wasn't just a cabin owner. I wasn't just a stubborn man clinging to an old family property. I owned everything. The roads, the forests, the lakes, the ground beneath their million-dollar homes. The entire county was mine. And when the truth came out that night, everything changed. Not just for me, but for every single person who thought they could control me. The cabin wasn't much to look at to anyone else, but to me, it was everything. My grandfather had bought the land back in the 1950s when nobody wanted it, too rocky, too remote, too far from the city. He built a simple cabin with his bare hands, and every summer, my father brought me there. I learned to fish in the stream behind the ridge, to cut firewood in the snow, and to listen to the forest until it spoke back. After my parents died in a car accident, the cabin became more than just a retreat. It became my anchor. Through heartbreak, financial struggles, and the constant grind of city life, I kept coming back to those woods. Eventually, I sold my house in the suburbs and moved in permanently. People called me crazy. "You're too young to disappear into the woods," they said. But peace was worth more than noise, and solitude was better than fake friends. What I didn't know was that my peaceful retreat had become surrounded by development. Wealthy families had moved in nearby, buying up lots and building pristine vacation homes. They formed an HOA to keep their community exclusive. I never signed up, never agreed to their rules, but they didn't see it that way. To them, my old log cabin was an eyesore in the middle of their perfect neighborhood. And leading the charge against me was a woman named Karen. Blonde bob, designer clothes, sunglasses even on cloudy days. She introduced herself once, walking up my driveway with a clipboard in hand. "You'll need to repaint your cabin to match the color scheme of the neighborhood," she said matter-of-factly, as if she were doing me a favor. I laughed. "Lady, this cabin is older than your whole neighborhood. I'm not painting it beige so it matches your cookie-cutter houses." Her smile froze. From that day forward, it was war. At first, it was letters. Notes shoved under my door about noise ordinances, about unauthorized structures on my porch, about my woodpile being unsightly. Then came the visits. She'd bring other HOA board members, standing at the edge of my property, pointing and whispering as if they had authority. But the worst was when she started bringing police into it. She called them about smoke from my chimney, accusing me of burning trash. She reported my truck as abandoned when I parked it near the cabin. Every week, it was something new. I'll admit, it wore me down. There were nights I sat on the porch with a glass of whiskey, staring at the stars, wondering if I should just sell the place and leave. Maybe peace wasn't possible anymore. Maybe my grandfather's legacy wasn't worth the constant battles. But every time I thought about giving up, I remembered his voice, "This land is yours. Don't ever let anyone take it from you." So I stayed. And that's when Karen crossed the line. One Saturday morning, I woke to pounding on my door. Karen stood there with two police officers. "This man is trespassing," she announced. "This cabin is not compliant with HOA regulations. He's refusing to vacate." I stepped outside, stunned. "Trespassing? This is my home." The officer shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, we've received complaints." "Complaints?" I cut in. "This land has been in my family for 70 years. I pay the taxes. I own it outright. The HOA doesn't apply to me." Karen smirked, confident I was about to be dragged away. But little did she know, the truth was far bigger than anyone standing there realized. The cops tried to reason with me, but I wasn't backing down. Neighbors gathered along the road, whispering, waiting for the crazy cabin guy to finally be kicked out. Karen stood tall, her arms crossed, already tasting victory. And then I did something I hadn't wanted to do. I pulled out the folder I kept in my desk. The one filled with documents my grandfather had passed down, ones I never thought I'd need to show anyone. Before you go any further, I said, handing the officer the paperwork, you might want to read this. The officer flipped through the pages, his eyes widening with every sheet. Deeds, titles, maps, and legal transfers. What is this? He asked. That, I said calmly, is proof that not only do I own this cabin, I own the entire county. Every square foot. Every road. Every lake. Every forest. All of it. This HOA. It's sitting on land that I lease out. They've been paying property taxes, but the mineral rights, the water rights, even the land beneath their million-dollar homes, it's mine. The silence that followed was deafening. Karen's face went pale. That's impossible. No one owns an entire county. Check the courthouse records, I said evenly. My grandfather bought the land before it was developed. When the county needed money, he bailed them out and kept ownership. They've been leasing it back ever since. You don't own your streets. You don't even own your backyards without my signature. The officer made a quick call. 10 minutes later, his superior arrived. Then another. By sunset, the truth was confirmed. Every inch of their precious, exclusive neighborhood rested on land that belonged to me. Karen tried to protest, shouting about bylaws and contracts, but nobody listened anymore. The power she had lorded over everyone crumbled in an instant. The very neighbors who once sided with her now turned away, embarrassed they had followed her so blindly. For me, it wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about humiliating her. It was about standing my ground, about proving that legacy and integrity meant more than greed or control. In the weeks that followed, the calls stopped. The letters vanished. The HOA dissolved into silence. Some neighbors even came to apologize, bringing pies and handshakes, realizing they had judged me without ever knowing the truth. As for Karen, she moved away quietly. No announcement, no farewell party. Just gone. And me. I stayed. I rebuilt the porch, planted a garden, and spent my evenings watching the sunset over the land my grandfather had fought so hard to keep. Because at the end of the day, the cabin wasn't just a building. It was a reminder that sometimes the battles we fight aren't just for ourselves, they're for the generations before us and the ones yet to come. So the next time someone tells you that you don't belong, remember this, the ground you stand on may be worth more than they'll ever understand. And no HOA, no Karen, no amount of power or arrogance can take away what is truly yours.